3:14 a.m. and you're staring at a spreadsheet that doesn't balance. Not because you made a mistake, because someone wants it that way. You're an analyst at a mid-tier investment fund, 6 years out of business school, still paying off loans, still eating dinner at your desk. The number in front of you is missing $11 million, and your supervisor just texted you one line. Don't ask questions. Just move it. You move it. That's the moment. Not a gunshot, not a chase, just your fingers on a keyboard, routing money through 3 shell accounts because you're tired and scared and your rent is due. You tell yourself it's a one-time favor. You tell yourself you're just following instructions. By the time you close your laptop, you've already crossed a line you can't see the other side of. 6 weeks later, the fund's founder calls you into his office. You expect to be fired. Instead, he offers you a promotion, a real one, with a title that doesn't exist on the org chart. He tells you the fund is a shell for something bigger, that the 11 million was practice, and that people like you, quiet, competent, hungry, are exactly what the operation needs. He doesn't say the word criminal. He says independent capital management. You know what he means. You take the job anyway. The first year is bookkeeping. You learn the architecture before you learn the danger, how money moves through layers of shell companies, real estate holdings, and offshore trusts until its origin is unrecognizable. You learn which banks ask questions and which ones don't. You learn that the real skill isn't hiding money, it's making it boring enough that nobody looks twice. You start to enjoy the puzzle of it. You tell yourself you're not a criminal. You're an architect. By year 2, you're managing accounts for people you never meet, men who speak in code over encrypted lines, who pay you in fractions of percentages that add up to more than your old annual salary in a single week. You buy a better apartment. You tell your family it's a promotion. In some sense, it is. The first time you understand the weight of what you're part of, it's not dramatic. It's a phone call. A courier missed a delivery, and the money didn't move where it needed to move, and someone on the other end of the line says, flatly, that the courier won't be a problem again. You don't ask what that means. You already know. You sit with that knowledge for a long time before you go back to work. This is the moment most people would call the point of no return. You don't feel like you've crossed anything. You feel like you've simply kept walking. By year 3, you're no longer managing money for other people. You're generating it. You've learned enough about the seams in global finance, the jurisdictions that don't share records, the loopholes in trade invoicing, the leverage of shell corporations stacked inside shell corporations, that you don't need anyone's permission anymore. You start your own operation quietly inside the operation that trained you. You tell yourself this is just ambition. Your mentor would call it betrayal if he found out. He doesn't find out for a long time. The money starts to move faster than your ability to track your own feelings about it. You cross $1 billion in controlled assets before you turn 34. You have a private security detail you didn't ask for and can't decline. You have a lawyer whose entire job is making sure you never say anything incriminating on a recorded line. You have 3 passports, none of which have your real photo on file with any government that matters. You are, on paper, several different people, none of whom exist. The psychological cost creeps in sideways. You stop trusting silence. A quiet week doesn't feel like peace anymore. It feels like something is being planned without you. You develop the habit of counting exits in every room you enter. You stop being able to tell the difference between caution and paranoia, and you're not sure it matters anymore because both keep you alive. There's a night, you remember it clearly, when a rival operation tries to trace one of your holding companies back to you. It's not violent. It's worse. It's patient. Someone spends 4 months quietly buying access to registries, filing freedom of information requests in 3 countries, building a paper trail toward your name. Your team catches it in week 11. You spend 2 sleepless nights deciding whether to let it play out and see who's behind it, or shut it down immediately and lose the intelligence. You choose to watch. Costs you almost everything. But you learn who's coming for you, and that knowledge becomes the reason you survive the next 5 years. By your late 30s you are, by any accounting anyone will ever be allowed to see, one of the wealthiest people who has never appeared on a single public list. Analysts who study illicit finance estimate fortunes like yours only in ranges, because the whole architecture is built to make the real number unknowable, even to the people managing it for you. Somewhere between 9 and 14 billion, your lawyer once told you, and then immediately regretted saying a number out loud. You've stopped thinking of yourself as someone who broke the rules. You think of yourself as someone who understood, earlier than everyone else, that the rules were never load-bearing to begin with. That's the rationalization that lets you sleep. It doesn't always work. The cost shows up in smaller ways now. You missed your father's funeral because leaving your current jurisdiction for 72 hours would have exposed a residency structure that took 4 years to build. You have not had an unmonitored conversation with anyone, including the people you love, in over a decade. You trust exactly 2 people completely, and you know that number will never grow, because every new name you let close to the center is another way for this to end. You used to think there would be a moment when you'd have enough money, enough distance, enough armor, that you could simply stop. Walk away. Disappear into some quiet, legitimate life on an island somewhere, name changed, pass sealed. You've had the exit plan drafted for 6 years. You have never once come close to using it. Because the truth, the one you don't say out loud even to yourself, is that the operation doesn't let people leave clean. Too many people depend on the architecture you built. Too many people would be exposed, arrested, or worse, if the center of the structure simply vanished. You are no longer just wealthy. You are load-bearing. The thing you built now owns you as much as you own it. Tonight, the phone rings once, the way it always has. You already know what it means before you answer. Somewhere, a new problem has surfaced. A jurisdiction closing a loophole, a junior partner talking too freely, a rival testing the edges of your territory again. You pick up the phone anyway. There will always be another call. There will always be another decision that seems small enough to make quickly, that will compound quietly into something you'll be managing for years. You built an empire out of decisions no one could see. Now you live entirely inside it, and the door behind you closed so long ago you've stopped remembering exactly where it was. You are the richest criminal in history, by every account that will never be written. And somewhere underneath all of it is the version of you from that first night, the tired analyst who just wanted to make rent, still wondering when exactly this stopped being a